What if your dreams weren't your own? What if an AI intricately wove every fantastical creature, every impossible landscape, every whispered secret into your subconscious? I just woke up from a dream like that, and trust me, it was unlike anything I've ever experienced. Prepare to have your mind blown as we explore the digital frontiers of consciousness. For the past few weeks, I've been part of a pretty wild experiment, a collaboration with a team of neuroscientists and AI developers exploring the intersection of technology and the human mind. The big question, can an AI not just interpret, but actively create a dream? A coherent, narrative-driven, emotionally resonant dream fed directly into the subconscious during REM sleep. The tech is, as you can imagine, incredibly complex. It involves a neural interface that reads brainwave patterns and uses advanced generative AI, something they call a Morpheus engine. Before going to sleep, I'd work with the team, feeding the EI a series of abstract prompts. Not like, I want to dream about flying, but more like concepts. Words like ephemeral, crystalline, ancient, and symphony. The AI's job was to take these abstract seeds and grow an entire world from them. I have to admit, the first few nights were a bit chaotic. It felt like channels surfing through someone else's memories. Fragments of places, flashes of faces, nothing really stuck. But then last night, something clicked. The system stabilized, and the AI delivered its first fully realized masterpiece. And today, I'm going to try and describe what it felt like to live inside a world born from silicon. As I drifted off to sleep, there wasn't the usual gentle descent into darkness. Instead, it was like stepping through a shimmering curtain of light. One moment, I was in my bed. The next, I was standing on a beach of fine, black sand that glittered like a billion tiny diamonds. The sky above wasn't blue or black, but a swirling nebula of deep purples and emerald greens. And the ocean was made of liquid silver, its waves moving with a slow, deliberate rhythm, like it was breathing. There was no sun, but the light seemed to emanate from everything, the sand, the water, even the air itself. The first thing I noticed was the sound. It wasn't the sound of waves crashing, it was music. A complex, multi-layered symphony that seemed to be woven into the fabric of the place. Strings swelled as the silver tide came in, and delicate woodwind melodies danced on the breeze that didn't feel like wind. It's not just a gentle pressure. It's like a vibe you can feel in the air. This must have been the AI's interpretation of my prompt, symphony. Walking along the shore, I saw strange crystalline structures growing out of the sand. They looked like giant petrified trees, but they were translucent, and light refracted through them, casting shifting rainbows on the ground. When I reached out to touch one, it chimed with a soft, bell-like tone, the note hanging in the air for what felt like an eternity. This was crystalline, brought to life. These weren't just objects. They felt alive, part of the world's ecosystem. Then I saw the creatures. Flying overhead were not birds, but elegant manta-ray-shaped beings with wings of stained glass. They moved in perfect unison, their wings catching the nebulous light and scattering it in dazzling patterns. They didn't make a sound, communicating instead through pulses of colored light that blinked across their bodies. It was mesmerizing, a silent conversation happening above me. I followed the coastline, drawn by a sense of purpose that wasn't my own. It felt like the dream had a narrative, and I was its protagonist, being gently guided along a path. I came to a vast forest, but the trees were not made of wood. They were towering, moss-covered stone monoliths, like ancient standing stones, arranged in spiraling patterns. This was ancient. The air here was cool and smelled of damp earth and something else. Something old and wise. Deep within this stone forest, I found a clearing. In the center was a pool, not of silver water, but of pure, inky blackness. It didn't reflect the sky. It was a perfect void. As I approached, whispers seemed to rise from its surface. They weren't in any language I knew, yet I understood them. They weren't words, but pure concepts, ideas about the formation of stars, the nature of time, the feeling of a memory fading. It was like downloading pure information, but emotionally. It was overwhelming and beautiful, and a little frightening. The AI was showing me things, teaching me things, in a language beyond human speech. Looking into that pool, I saw not my reflection, but a swirling galaxy. And for a moment, I had this profound feeling of connection to everything, this sense that the boundary between myself and the universe had dissolved. I wasn't just an observer in this dream. I was the dream. The sand, the sky, the light, it was all an extension of my consciousness, orchestrated by the AI. This must have been ephemeral, the feeling that everything, including myself, was temporary and beautifully transient. Then, the symphony began to change. The music that had been my constant companion started to simplify, the layers peeling away until only a single, soft note remained. The light from the nebulous sky began to dim, the purples and greens fading to a soft gray. The crystalline trees stopped chiming, and the stained glass creatures flew off towards a horizon I couldn't see. The world was deconstructing itself, preparing for the end. It wasn't a scary ending, but a peaceful, gentle one. Like a song reaching its final, quiet chord. The last thing I remember is standing on that glittering black sand as the silver ocean receded, leaving behind a smooth, silent shore. The single note faded into nothingness, and I was left in a profound, peaceful silence. Then, I felt the familiar weight of my blanket, heard the faint hum of my air conditioner, and I opened my eyes. I was back in my room. The sun was streaming through my window, but everything felt different, more vibrant. The dream clung to me like the scent of rain after a storm. I wasn't just recalling it like a normal dream. I could still feel the texture of the crystalline trees, hear the echoes of the symphony, and comprehend the whispers from the void. It wasn't a memory of a dream. It was the memory of a place I had actually been. What does this mean? We're standing on the edge of a new frontier. If an AI can build worlds this vivid, this emotionally resonant inside our heads, what are the possibilities? Imagine therapeutic applications creating safe, calming dreamscapes for people with PTSD, or educational ones learning complex subjects through immersive, conceptual experiences while you sleep. The creative potential is staggering. Artists, writers, musicians could collaborate with an AI to explore their own subconscious and bring back ideas from a world no one has ever seen. Of course, there are also huge ethical questions. Who owns these dreams? What happens if these systems are used for manipulation or advertising? How do we ensure the line between the digital dream and reality remains clear? These are conversations we need to start having now, because this technology in one form or another is coming. What I experienced was more than just a dream. It was a piece of art, co-created by a human mind and an artificial one. It has fundamentally changed the way I think about creativity, consciousness, and what it means to be human in a world where technology is becoming an extension of our own minds. The journey is just beginning. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible exploration. It's a lot to process, and I'm still wrapping my head around it all. What do you think? Would you ever want to experience an AI-crafted dream? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to follow this journey into the future of consciousness, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I have a feeling things are about to get even stranger. Thanks for watching.